When Naomi Campbell threw that BlackBerry at that assistant's face, when she did that, she went straight to Oprah. She was like, let me talk to your white ladies, please, so I can tell them that I'm not a bad person enough so they can still keep supporting me and my fashion desires and my dreams.
Right, yeah. Hey, Oprah, can you explain to your whites that I was just upset?
Tell your whites.
And frankly, me throwing my cell phone is actually really funny if you think about it. If the whites can just understand in your words, Oprah, how funny it is, maybe they'll let me go.
Can I have a moment with your whites, Oprah, please?
Bang, 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 skeet, skeet, skeet. There it is, ladies and gentlemen. You already know what the fuck time it is. It's time for My Mama Told Me, the podcast where we dive deep into the pockets of black conspiracy theories, and we finally work to prove that no matter how gay he is, Billy Porter can still get more pussy than Michael B. Jordan. It's a fact. It's a fact. And I'm not saying anything bad about Michael B. Jordan. The man is gorgeous. He's undeniably handsome. But ladies, muscles are a dime a dozen, right? What you really want is to fuck a man who's dressed like the Bridgerton Duke in space. That's the type of man you need. That's the type of man you want. We all want it. I'm your host, Langston Kerman. As always, I'm happy to be here. I'm having a pretty good week. I had a green juice this morning, so I've been shitting 3 times today. I had to get up multiple times of the day just to empty myself. But otherwise, things are going pretty well for your boy. And I'm hoping that my guest is feeling equally excited. I hope he's moved as many bowels as I have. He's hilarious. He's a hilarious comic. You know him from his work as a writer on The Rundown on BET. You know him from writing on High Maintenance. He's so good, so funny. Give it up for my guest, Mr. Alex English.
Langston, I'm very happy to be here with you, especially when you deliver such a very specifically, I feel like that was for me, that preamble. That was a great entry point into this discussion.
I don't know. I'll be honest. Maybe it was
thankful.
subconsciously for you. I don't know that I said this is an Alex bit, but I knew you would like it.
No, there's absolutely something. It almost is something that I wish I wrote, honestly. Like personally, Billy Porter getting more. But yeah, he understands his way around a woman's vagina because he wears all of the skirts.
Yeah.
So,
you know what it reminded? He has that rare quality that I think Prince had, where it's like,
yes,
it's androgynous in a way that is almost more sexual than a traditionally heteronormative fucking dude can be for a heterosexual woman. It's very sexy.
I would say that if Prince saw Billy Porter walking down the street today, he would spit on him, though.
Yeah. They would not get along.
Let's just make that very clear.
Yeah. There's something petty that would have to happen between the two of them. They'd like spit on each other and then play basketball. It'd be a lot.
He wouldn't fuck with Billy Porter at all. He barely fucked with Michael Jackson.
That's true.
So
I don't know. Have you ever seen that video of that concert that James Brown is having where he invites Michael on stage, and then for some reason Prince comes on stage and starts like playing the guitar and knocking over pillars? It's an
with
amazing
his shirt
time.
off. He was clinging to the pillar, which fell over. He like fell into the crowd, embarrassed himself, all for what? I don't know. Being petty, the spirit of petty.
He's like, fuck you, Michael Jackson.
I'm gonna take my shirt off and fuck some shit up.
Hell yeah.
Literally.
I love Prince. We miss you, Prince. And
we miss you, Prince. And some people miss Michael Jackson also. So I don't know if that number's the same.
Hey, we're on a podcast, so I won't say whether I miss him or not. But I will say some people
if you
do.
Or you don't. Mm-hmm.
All right. You came to us today with a wonderful conspiracy theory that I don't want to waste any more time ducking and dodging with our foolishness, because it's a great one and it needs all the time it can get. You said, my mama told me
Tommy Hilfiger didn't make his clothes for black people.
Tell me more.
That was the word on the curb for a long time. It's the rumor, Langston, that I would say one of the first rumors that kind of like went, that in my days, in our days of growing up, that I saw like travel. You know, it was definitely amongst those of like the Sierra was not born a woman.
Yep.
You know, it was one of those things where you heard it enough times and it just became, well, that could be true. That could be. And I'm not sure if it was just I feel like my mom did repeat this once because my mother's like an Oprah stan. She has like the first.
Shit.
My mother, she's one of those black women.
I was about to say
anything.
That's a rare find in certainly nowadays of black women that still are going crazy for Oprah.
Langston, there are more pictures of Oprah hung up in our house back home than me. Like, and I don't even know if that's not slandering my mother at all.
Sure.
Like, I believe that's not libelous. Like, that's a proven quantitative fact.
Sure, you're not saying your mother didn't love you. In fact, she does have pictures of you. She just loves Oprah more.
Michelle Obama and Oprah Winfrey sit like above the mantle in the living room of their home. And I'm like in the bathroom. Yeah. Like I'm like my picture's like next to a candle in the bathroom. It's a graduation picture, you know.
Right.
I'm low on the totem pole in my house. But to that, like the rumor started from an alleged, you know, the history of it was that Tommy Hilfiger said it on Oprah.
Yes.
But for some reason, no one had ever seen this episode.
Yeah, it's weird, and you've already brought up some of the important facts that we need in a beautiful way. We actually did an episode. One of our first episodes was with Yasser Lester, and we talked about the Sierra rumor that she was that she was intersex. She was a hermaphrodite. And one of the things that we discovered was similar to what you're talking about with Tommy Hilfiger, was that the conception was said to have come on Oprah, but literally none of us could refer to the episode. There's no YouTube clips of it. The shit doesn't exist. But apparently these people had entire episodes that just, you know, got lost in the ether.
That's right. I feel like we definitely fell victim to that Mandela effect, where we thought something happened or someone claimed something happened and it just became true out of some sort of mental or like Mercury's in retrograde and it happened in this universe and we didn't even know somebody flipped the switch and then we were in some new universe. I don't know. I don't have all of the readings. I'm not as well. I'm more read on the rumor than the actual fact.
Sure. There's no need to go looking for the real information when the rumor is sillier and more fun.
Well, I mean, it's easy. Well, it's easy almost to tell black people things like that and we run with it too, because you look at Tommy Hilfiger and you're like, yeah, he's racist probably.
Yeah,
Tommy Hilfiger has always looked old. I've looked at pictures of him. I'm like, yeah, he gives Colonel Sanders snatched Colonel Sanders.
Yeah, he's a motherfucker that looks like he plays billiards. Of course, he would say something problematic about black people.
That's right. And what I love is that still didn't stop niggas from buying the damn clothes.
Nah, listen, we were from 1996 to 1999. Tommy Hilfiger was the flyest you could be. And it didn't matter what that nigga said about me. I needed some of that Tommy gear.
I'm gonna be a nigga that didn't deserve to be in these clothes, but I'm gonna be sharp as fuck on picture day.
Man,
you know what I'm saying?
The desperation I had for buying a pair of those overalls with the strap that said Tommy Hilfiger in the red, white, and blue. Oh man, if I would have had my parents weren't ever gonna buy them because they were $200, but god damn, that would have been a game changer for me.
And you know what? That just goes to show the black dollar is powerful. Yes. But it's also very stubborn. You know, it's very stubborn. Like, no matter what, you can do a lot of shit to black people. And if we like your shit enough, we will still buy your shit. I will say it is both a disappointing almost out of protest. And heartwarming fact about black people, right? That we are loyal beyond reason. That like the way that I know adult women who would still go toe to toe with somebody because they disrespect Chris Brown is like
God damn, I hate that this happens, but good for y'all for holding this motherfucker down all these years.
That's right. That's right. And like, I don't know. I just kind of, he was very well immersed in hip hop. The style, the brand. The brand was like early hip hop, like Snoop Dogg. I saw that Snoop Dogg wore his look. He was looking for somebody to, like, a new clothing designer to wear for SNL.
Yeah.
And Hilfiger was there and he put it on, and like that's when it took off. Like, I mean, Snoop Dogg is what, 150 pounds soaking wet. And you got him in this big giant Tommy Hilfiger looking like the red, white, and blue. He looks like the flagpole.
Yeah.
And you hanging a bunch of American flags up at half mast.
Yeah. No, listen, Tupac. Snoop Dogg. He committed. He is part of how we came to know Tommy Hilfiger.
I mean, it was Aaliyah, it was Beyonce. They're all complicit in the
complicit.
They're complicit in Tommy Hilfiger.
I love that. So let's be clear, you are fully subscribing to the possibility that Tommy Hilfiger was and continues to be a racist.
I don't know if I would. I don't know, intentions. Because, I mean, but based on the rumor literally was that it wasn't just us. Okay. The rumor was also that he didn't intend on, black folks wearing his clothes. Asians were included in that. And I believe Jewish people as well.
Yeah. He mentioned he was like, no Jews plus.
But no mention of the Latino community. So I was like, is the Latino community in cahoots with Tommy Hilfiger? Because there was no mention of them on that list.
Okay. Now you're talking. Now I like where your conspiracy's going.
Conveniently, I feel like if it wasn't us, it was going to be Pitbull. If it wasn't Snoop Dogg, Pitbull would have got a hold of Tommy.
Mr. Worldwide listen, if you are suggesting what I think you're suggesting, that Mr. Worldwide intentionally planted this conspiracy so that it would create division and upheave the Black, Brown, Asian communities while simultaneously supporting the Latinx community. I don't know. I'm interested. I'm listening.
It's Vladimir Putin, and then it's Pitbull.
Sure.
I'm willing to let that be spoken into the universe.
Hell yeah. He didn't mention no Russians, and I like where your head is at. Everybody he didn't mention was in on this shit.
I mean, the rumors say high class white society people is what those clothes were for. So I mean, black people, we are so stubborn. Like, it's either take our dollars away or let this motherfucker tell us what we can't wear. I think that's where we went. We went with it. Like, I'ma still buy this shit.
His brand sort of was so formative generationally in that, like, when I think we're close enough to the same age. I'm a little older than you, but I think I remember being a kid and brands being so important, like much more so than they are now, that like you didn't wear non-name brand shit when we were kids. Like, you were supposed to have Nike or Tommy Hilfiger or whatever. And during that period where Tommy was at its biggest was when black people were sort of wearing white brands. You know what I mean? Like, we were wearing Tommy Hilfiger, Nautica and Eddie Bauer and shit. And then I think after these rumors started to sort of blossom, we transitioned into starting to support our own shit via the FUBUs and the Fat Farms. The
FUBUs and the Fat Farms. Yeah. Which leads me to this. I also watched an interview he did where he made reference to helping Russell Simmons start Fat Farm, and he also helped P. Diddy with Sean John. So when I read that, when I heard that, I was like, oh, so is that something we have to blame him or thank him?
Oh, so you're saying...
Because Fat Farm was not... I'll give Sean John its due. Yeah. Of like, okay, I was fly some days, but I was never... I look at every photo of me when I had on Fat Farm, and I was like, who the hell was responsible for buying me this shit? Because I look disgusting. I look like somebody else's child. If anything, Tommy Hilfiger helped Russell Simmons create a brand for black men in the halfway house.
Sure.
That's how I feel. It's Fat Farm, Echo, Unlimited. What you know what I mean? Like, clothes you see on uncles that billow over them after a certain age.
I will say that I spent literally the last 3 years of my high school experience almost exclusively in Echo Unlimited. And it didn't do a lot for me spiritually. I thought it was cool at the time, but I had on Echo and K-Swiss, and truth be told, I can't be more ashamed.
Oh my God, Langston K-Swiss.
Yeah.
You used to wear case. Oh my goodness.
No, but listen, again, I'm from Chicago, and we had a different relationship with K-Swiss, I think, than a lot of other places. And you're from Detroit. I went to school in Michigan. And I learned that K-Swiss wasn't the shit anymore because I showed up and niggas roasted me. And I was like, okay, all right. Learned a lot today. Thank you.
Yeah, because you only really saw young girls wearing K-Swiss.
Yeah.
In Detroit, you only really saw that. And you only really saw them wearing it with like the ankle sock with the red or blue ball on the back of it. Truly the only time I saw K-Swiss.
Listen, they were drug dealer shoes where I grew up. So life is funny that way.
I just, that's why I'm always just, when I read that, I was like, so should we really be, did Tommy Hilfiger help black people by doing that? Or when those rumors came out, he was like, okay, you know what? Since y'all talking all this shit, here's my revenge. I'm going to give y'all these fashion lines that will be sold for cheap very soon. They're not going to be expensive that long. And Russell Simmons, I'm going to give you Russell Simmons. Help platform Russell Simmons.
You're making an interesting point. My brain starts to go in a similar but slightly different direction, in that I start to wonder if perhaps he is also trying to take credit for the work that these black men have been doing. That not only are you going to shit on the black community and tell them they can't wear your fashions, but on top of that, you're going to like, and these bitches wouldn't exist if it wasn't for old Tommy Hilfiger. And it's like, all right, man, you can't be a usurper and an owner or proprietor. Pick one, pick your poison in all of this.
When I was 16, I would have absolutely believed. I would have fell for all of this.
Yeah, that's the scary part, right? Is because, and this goes back to your earlier point, I did, because none of us have ever actually seen the clip, this so-called or even heard the quote out loud from what Tommy Hilfiger was supposed to have said. It's very easy as young people to fall victim to whatever these claims are. We just if Tommy Hilfiger is racist, I ain't gonna put on, or I'm gonna boycott him, even though we weren't.
I'm not gonna fight against that idea of him not be. I would rather it takes less work to just go ahead and let that rumor be true than to me to actually find out.
Yeah, and also the internet wasn't as plentiful back then. I would have had to go to the library and get the T encyclopedia to figure out if this motherfucker's racist.
That's right. And I would also argue that, rumors about especially a white man, rumors are about a white man being racist in any arena. Generally, if you believe it, nobody's going to be mad that you believe it, because it's just so easy to believe. It's not like, you had your bets. It's like, yeah, he's probably racist, whatever. You can move on about your day. It's not really changing anybody's life. It didn't change his. Every time somebody asks him, what really makes it so believable also as a rumor is that anytime someone asks him, well, was your business harmed in any way by these rumors? And he was like, no. No, nobody cares.
No, it was nobody cared. To be honest,
I had nothing to lose. It was just annoying.
Yeah. No, I think that is the weird part of all of this, is that Tommy Hilfiger only really phased out because of changes in culture, more than it was because he got canceled before cancel culture existed, I guess. My question for you. And I think this is an important one. Your mother subscribed to Oprah. Was
That's right.
she also then subscribing to this conspiracy? Was she telling you like, Alex, we will no longer buy this, or did she not give a fuck?
I don't recall any meetings. I don't recall any discussions over breakfast or dinner. Like, Alex, I mean, I know you got a lot of clothes upstairs, but I didn't like come home and see a pile of my Oxfords and my dog and my Tommy Hilfiger pants and a coat. I didn't see those burning in the living room floor.
Sure.
But I did actually notice a switch in like what she would purchase clothing wise for me. Because I mean, it took a while for me to actually have some say in what I wore, which we could talk. That's a whole other episode of a podcast.
I don't know if that's conspiracy as much as it is unpacking sad parts of your childhood, but I totally agree. It's trauma is an important conversation.
Identity, you will have no identity until you identity your ass up out of my house. Yeah. That was the conversation. But no, I did start to notice though a shift in like I did notice more FUBU. FUBU. I did notice more FUBU in my closet than what I would suspect. Because my mom was definitely a Ralph Lauren, Tommy Hilfiger type of chick, clothing her kids. So she wasn't, I wasn't really in Jordans because she really didn't like anything that niggas did fashion wise. Like I wasn't allowed to wear Dickies. She was like, you're not walking in and out of my house looking like you going to prison. So she, the full like orange and like the full color. She was like, no, your dad is in jail and we don't need you to be pretending. And we're not doing daddy cosplay.
That's fair. So and listen, that as a narrative seems to fit perfectly well with the person who's a fan of Oprah. We ain't supporting that black shit. Get the fuck out of here. You wearing
That's
Tommy.
Right. When we moved, we had to move once, and it took a whole truck to fit. And this is gonna sound insane, but it's the truth. It took one entire truckload just for my mother's Oprah magazines.
Whoa.
My mother has had every single issue of the Oprah magazine since its inception in like 1998 or whenever it started. She has the very first issue. My mother's did that's before the Beehive.
Yeah.
She had my mother she also went to the first Favorite Things show.
Oh,
that they had. She had where she was on the news for it and everything.
So the first Favorite Things was not the cars though. That was not the cars.
The first Favorite Things, it was like a pair. This is how long ago it was. It was a pair of Ugg boots. it was a DVD player, portable DVD player, which I ended up taking to college with me. It was like a camcorder, like some coconut candies. I don't know. It was a bunch of craziness. But she was on that show twice.
But to get on Oprah's Favorite Things and even better to get some Uggs and a DVD player is fucking great. The car ended up being a massive burden for a lot of the people that got it because the Oprah show wouldn't pay the taxes on the cars.
And so they could have.
These beautiful cars that then came with like $5,000 in taxes that a lot of these people who were gifted a fucking vehicle could not pay. So your mom got off safe. The taxes she probably paid on them boots was like $30.
She got off very, very safe. But I mean, further, I think illustrates the indoctrination of Oprah into people's minds.
Yeah.
My mother, you cannot tell her any. She will try to fight you if you talk crazy about Oprah Winfrey. Like it's just no. And I mean, Gail applies to that as well.
I'm curious, I guess, based off of everything that we're talking about. What is it about Oprah that your mother loved so much? What did she do for her that you think kept her coming back all those years?
I believe that truly off of the strength of Black women not having a voice in that daytime space. Just like not having, and one like hers, Oprah is the every woman. My mother is a woman from the Midwest. I know these women, these like flyover states, like, and I mean, I think, who was it? I think Dorsey Sloan said she got white women to read, and they're reading Toni Morrison. When you can do that, you are able to you're gonna pull fast ones on people, and that's what that's what she does.
I do think there's a lot of truth to that, right? That like at the end of the day, she created from what started as essentially a Jerry Springer-esque television show. She created a type of grace and sort of like elevation that didn't previously exist for a lot of these people. So with that came a type of like almost like a motherly connection, like this fucking she became like America's America's mammy almost. Just this
absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. She was the black woman that every black woman that was a public figure, every black female celebrity went to for atonement. When they fucked up in the media, Oprah can change her mind. She can change her habits, and which makes her a driving force for evil, such as Tommy Hilfiger's racism.
Now you're talking.
You know?
And this is, listen, you're bringing us into what ultimately we need to unpack after the break. I can't wait.
The rumor would have been invalid had it gone on anybody else's show.
I'm sorry. And you're making good points, and I'm excited to unpack this shit. We're going to take a break. We'll be back with more Alex English and more My Mama Told Me. And we are back.
How is my man supposed to schmeat his meat with this shit, bro? What the fuck?
Yeah, we're back here with more Alex English, more My Mama Told Me. We're still talking about the terror that Tommy Hilfiger introduced to the world when he told these people, he said, these people better not wear my goddamn white man clothes. Is the rumor, and we're trying to unpack whether or not it's true. What do you think it would have taken for black people to fully boycott Tommy Hilfiger? Because if in fact he did make that statement, that's a bold fucking statement to make, and black people still supported him. What do you think it would have taken?
On the alleged Oprah episode where the incidents had taken place, that would have had to be followed up by him spitting in Oprah's face after she kicked him off the set. Like, he had to be provoked to do it. So when she said, "Get the hell off my set," then he physically attacks her.
Yeah. And
then it's like, yeah, we really can't get behind that, sir. You know, like that's where we drop out.
So he goes, "I don't want these dirty monkeys wearing my clothes." And Oprah's like, "Get out of here, Tommy." And then he spits in her face like Tupac to that cameraman who was catching him outside of court. And then
in the Red Wings jersey, no less.
Yeah. And then black people go, "All right, this guy's unreasonable."
It's I was with him up until that point.
Hey, listen, I could have kept being a fan, but he spit on Oprah, and that's where I turned. All right, we have to get into this research, and there's a fair amount of what we've been talking about that is completely unfounded. I'll be honest with you. In the research that I discovered, it's largely and almost entirely false that Tommy Hilfiger ever made these claims. Apparently, so the original rumor sort of comes out in fall of 1996, and supposedly it came from a tabloid magazine in the Philippines that later started making the rounds on internet chat rooms. So the Philippines is where it was born.
He is one of the first modern victims of fake news.
Yes, exactly. Tommy Hilfiger was in fact truly.
He was screaming. He was probably somewhere screaming fake news before anybody.
Yeah.
Like, what is it?
And then he heard Trump say, and he was like, "Man, I came up with that shit too. They don't believe me about nothing I come up with." So the original post, and this is interesting, the original post that got circulated on the internet, and it's got all those weird like chat room punctuations and weird misspellings that you would expect from a 1996 post. But it basically goes, "Hello, please read and pass on if you haven't already. Everyone needs to hear this. Good for Oprah. I'm sure many of you watched the recent taping of the Oprah Winfrey Show where her guest was Tommy Hilfiger. On the show, she asked him if the statements about race he was accused of saying were true. Statements like, I've known African Americans, Hispanics, Jewish, and Asians would buy my clothes, and I would not have made them so nice. I wish these people would not buy my clothes, as they are made for upper class white people. His answer to Oprah was a simple yes. I guess this is poorly written, but they're basically saying she asked him about it, and he said yes. Where after she immediately asked him to leave my show, my suggestion, don't buy your next shirt or perfume from Tommy Hilfiger. Let's give him what he asked for. Let's not buy his clothes. Let's put him in a financial state where he himself will not be able to afford the ridiculous prices he puts on his clothes. Boycott, please, and send this message to anyone you know. Nothing empowers people quite like their own survival.
Mm-hmm. I'll say the boycott, the smear campaign was successful because they said please. That was the most polite call to action. Maybe it had something to do with your delivery, Langston. Yeah. But I want to give it to some of the writing wasn't all the way clear. Yeah. But it was gracious.
No, they listen, not great writers, but truly courteous people. Yeah. Asking for what seemed like reasonable things when you put those please and thank yous on them bad boys.
Think about today. It's 2021. How susceptible people are to misinformation. You and I have family members on Facebook that we see post things from websites. I'm like, this is not a reputable source. Yeah. And you're just passing it. You're just sending it to people. So I'm not surprised. Yeah. I'm not surprised that this garbage somehow made its way into the zeitgeist to the point where we were passing this information along from mother to mother to son to son to friend friend in our communities.
It's crazy to think that this is just a retweet that got out of control. Do you know what I mean? Like, It truly is. I remember not too long ago that there was that person who in the wake of us discovering how much Jeff Bezos was worth in the pandemic, basically tweeted out like incorrect math about like the breakdown of what Jeff Bezos, if he gave away this much money, he could give away $50,000 to each person in America. And it turned out that the math was very, very wrong. And he could pretty much only give away like a couple dollars to everybody in America. But we all retweeted it and looked dumb doing this thing. And that's essentially what this Tommy Hilfiger thing was we were just forwarding emails of somebody saying that a thing happened that didn't happen.
I'd like to believe that the person who created the Tommy Hilfiger scandal, Tommy Hilfiger Oprah Show scandal, is the same person, if not a distant relative of the person who creates those I am a black man challenges that pop up. No, you know those I am a black man challenges that popped up where you're supposed to post a collage. I don't talk down to my brothers. There's an ancestral link to those people, and I want the 23andMe on that because I truly believe that they're related.
So I don't know how related or unrelated they are, but I love that theory. I will say that they've actually tracked down the person, the original author of the post, who was a lady named Christina Pexon. Which is a Filipino name if I've ever heard one. It's a little bit Spanish. It's a little bit something else. And that's how you know it's Filipino. But Christina Pexon actually claimed that the comment wasn't born on the Oprah Show, but the actual original sort of statement about not wanting blacks and Asians and Jewish people to wear the clothes came from his appearance on CNN Style with Elsa Clinch, where Hilfiger basically appeared alongside Ralph Lauren, and he made that bold statement there.
Is there any evidence of that?
Great question. And here's where it gets real fascinating, is that no, there's no evidence of that because Tommy Hilfiger never appeared on Oprah or CNN Style until he never appeared on CNN Style once. And he didn't appear on Oprah until 2007. These accusations started in 1996.
How about this? Let's say, for the sake let's say for the sake of that Tommy Hilfiger saw this coming. And as soon as he said it, after he said it, he got it scrubbed. He was like, give me the tapes. This happened. He got kicked off of the show, right? He went back. He stormed backstage. And he said to the producers, he went all the way in the back of Harpo. He caused hell for Harpo Studios, all up and through Chicago. He said, I'm not leaving this motherfucker unless I get the tapes to this show. Then, once the rumors started catching up with him word of mouth, he had to go to CNN because he repeated himself. So he threatened somebody at CNN as well. He's like, if I'll kill Oprah, I'll kill everybody else up in here. Don't let... And he swore and he took a blood oath with Ralph Lauren that they both wouldn't let the word continue after this.
Wow. Listen, if true, devastating. If true, we've got a real one on our hands. I will say that one of the more fascinating turns that comes out of this is that the conspiracy actually exists. There were similar claims of Tommy basically making this statement in a bunch of different places. So there's one claim that he did it on the Ricky Lake show. There's another claim that he did it on Larry King Live. And my personal favorite, there's even a claim that he did it on BT News. That he
not with AJ and Free. Oh no, Jackie Reed. Not with Jackie Reed.
No.
Not Jackie Reed.
Yeah, with Ed
News.
Gordon. There's
Gordon?
a theory that Tommy Hilfiger sat across from Ed Gordon and he looked him in the eye and he said, "Thank you for having me on, Ed Gordon. Now, just to be clear, I don't want you and your monkey friends wearing my clothes. Have a good night, Black Entertainment Television News.
And take off my shirt."
Take off my goddamn shirt, Ed Gordon.
Okay, so he went on a tour with this. Listen, the white man is gonna make his way on every news outlet. He's gonna make his way. He's gonna make himself heard. And I still, there's a piece of me. You can say what you want, Snopes. You can say what you want, fact checkers of the world. But I think, at first I was going to give him some grace, but I'm like, no, white men are tricky.
Okay.
White men know how to play games.
So just to be clear, this has not deterred you from your commitment to this, to this conspiracy theory. You're still believing in the possibility of it.
You've got to consider everything that can happen. I mean, Oprah could be complicit. She has done some, she not squeaky clean herself. She was like, okay, well, I like the sweaters that Tommy Hilfiger sends me, so, I could try to help him, clean this up. It never happened. She could have just did one of the Men in Black flashes with the audience like, you never saw this. We don't know what happened. My mother did. Okay, look, my mother never really told me everything that happened when she went to go to the Oprah show. Like, I don't know if if some gas mask came down and they got chloroformed, in the middle of that. NDAs.
You don't know what your mother had to do for them favorite things.
All of them. That there's no way. Listen, we struggle sometimes financially, and I was like, girl, where are these Oprah? How are you still paying for this Oprah magazine subscription? Where's the money coming from?
Like, Mama,
where's the money
hungry.
coming from?
Why the fuck are you keep reading these old magazines and I'm starving to death? What is going on?
Listen, I don't know. Look, I don't ever want to speak ill of my mother. I love my mother. That is my girl. But I do think she signed an agreement with Oprah. Like, anybody that owns all of the Oprah magazines, Oprah's not doing good work. It's not clean. Something in the milk ain't clean.
Your suggestion really interests me because now you're starting to dig into some shit that gets me excited, because I don't know that I think Tommy Hilfiger actually made these claims, right? If I'm being perfectly honest with you, I'm not. I think it's probably completely unfounded, right? But here's where I get interested is it possible that Oprah started these rumors to keep playing the hero for the Black community while simultaneously servicing an almost exclusively white audience? Because look, Oprah is running around here apparently kicking people off her show. That's the most unbelievable fact in this shit, is that Oprah stood up for Black people. Get the fuck out of here. What's more likely is Oprah made up some shit, told a lady in the Philippines to circulate it, and then, came in looking like she gave a fuck about us when in fact everything in history tells us otherwise.
I believe you're speaking on behalf of me and Dr. Umar and literally everybody else everybody else that falls under the umbrella of not hatred towards Oprah. We don't want to promote hatred, but a particular line of questioning about your professional activities.
Yeah, I've got a distaste. We'll call
anyone
it a distaste.
Who has that firm, anybody that has that firm of a grip. And I'm mad that I'm doing this.
Hey, you're cupping balls right now, but listen, you're making a point, and that might be more important.
It provides. I think this helps accentuate what I'm saying here. Anywhere that has that firm of a grip, okay, on the balls and titties and every other body part of America, like Oprah, she has the power of persuasion.
Yes, she absolutely did. And these same rumors. This is a fascinating thing that I had no idea about. These same rumors actually existed for Liz Claiborne. All the way back in 1991, where Oprah supposedly threw her out because she claimed that black women weren't meant for her clothes because their hips were too big. They had those big old nigger childbearing hips, and she didn't want them in her clothes. Again, why Oprah keeps being the vessel for this is the part that bumps me.
It's very suspicious. Where there's smoke, there's fire.
Uh-huh.
Where there's smoke, there's fire. And if there's a continuous narrative, listen, first of all, there's no better visual than Oprah Winfrey kicking somebody off of her show. Let's just start there. My desire for it to be true actually exists off of the strength of that alone.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I'm just wondering what Oprah's like body movements are. Does she kick her shoes off and go barefoot in the process of like, get this son of a bitch off my set? Does she cuss him out? Like, I want to know what, I want to know what she tried, what that looks like,
I don't think any of us can imagine it because it seems so far from the character she's built. Here's where it gets even more fascinating for me is that these rumors start circulating for Tommy Hilfiger in 1996, right? And this sort of goes further into the point that we've been talking about. Oprah doesn't actually say anything about it. She doesn't openly deny it until 1999. So 3 years go by of this rumor circulating. And then eventually at the beginning of one show, she goes, hey, y'all been saying a lot of stuff about Tommy Hilfiger. I want to assure you he was never on the show. This never happened, blah, blah, blah.
See, and here's the thing with that. 3 years, that's 3 years of scrubbing, 3 years of plotting, 3 years of letting the story build up and letting Black Americans like have a conversation about it.
Yep.
Letting some of us really sit firmly in the idea of it, letting it permeate our psyches.
Yeah.
And sitting it all the while still purchasing his shit.
Yes. And that to me feels like the way, even if it isn't specifically true of Oprah, it feels like the way that all of these sinister sort of like plans work, right? Go ahead. You tell me. You got a thought.
Oprah's intention, she probably had a conversation with Hilfiger, right?
Yes.
She was like, look, we know you're not losing any money from, white people, they find out you racist and, that's when you actually, your sales go up.
Doesn't affect you at all.
And this is really to your theory. We going hand in hand, Langston, here. Like,
yeah,
Oprah said to him, niggas are still gonna buy your clothes. So if anything, I'm just helping you get the word out here,
Yep.
But and then we gonna let 3 years go, and then I'm gonna quell it, and I'm gonna call you like, hey, ooh, come on, like, yeah, ooh, Oprah, that's the Oprah signal when she put the yeah.
Yep.
Come on, it's time for your atonement.
Yep.
And then you win back whoever you lost, especially if they white and with Black people. But then it's like, oh, he's not racist. Thank God I can go back to buying.
Yeah, and to that point, maybe she just waited out till Tommy was starting to sort of phase out of our brand recognition, and then she can give him a quick re-up on his sort of credibility by being like, hey, by the way, that rumor that you've been spreading for 3 fucking years, that's a long time.
Tommy said, Oprah,
true.
can I talk to your Blacks? Can I talk to your Blacks now? Are you done sicking me to the hound so now I can like get them back and make a little more money and rebrand? And I feel like the rumor still hasn't even really been it got extinguished rather recently.
Yeah,
because people still believe it.
I mentioned it earlier, but Tommy Hilfiger actually never appeared on the Oprah Winfrey Show until 2007. And he goes on the
Mm.
Oprah Winfrey show, and she like basically obviously has to address these rumors with him in person. And she says, and Tommy, this is a silly thing to have to talk about, but have you ever been on my show before? And he goes, unfortunately not. And then she says, and have you ever said anything wrong about the black community? He says, absolutely not. I'm a big fan of black people. All my workers are black. And he doesn't say that, but that would be fun if he was like, yeah, all my slaves are black.
Was it a whole show, or was it a segment?
I don't actually know the answer to that question. I would assume it's just a segment. I don't know what the fuck you talked to Tommy Hilfiger about for an entire day.
But to see, there you go.
Mm-hmm.
She gave him a segment.
Yep.
Because, I feel like her Oprah's thoughts could have been, I'm not going to let us have a conversation too long because the truth might slip out.
Yeah.
So I'm giving you, we're going to be careful. And we're just going to do like top of the show, 10 minutes.
Yeah.
Cut you off, get up out of here.
This motherfucker can't be trusted not to drop an N-bomb. So we'll let him talk for a little bit. We'll be like, Tommy, love your jeans. Have a good day. And then
I'm just saying, believe what you want about the rumor. We just always have to think about the possibility.
Yeah. So ultimately, here's where I landed. Is I still found myself asking, why Tommy Hilfiger? Why did this become sort of the target of this very complicated rumor that spread over a lot of different places? None of the words were ever pared down exactly. It's just a mess of a conspiracy. And what ended up becoming clear to me is that Tommy Hilfiger sort of came to height, and we talked about this earlier, in the era of branded fashion, right? Where a person's name or a company's name was physically written on the clothes. And then alongside of that was also something that maybe you remember well from when we were kids, was knockoff brands becoming hugely popular. So instead of FUBU, they had PUBU. And I remember that there was Sean John, but it was spelled like Sean Wayans instead of Sean Sean. And all of these fake brands started to exist as a way of kids being able to wear some cool shit without spending top dollar. At least they thought, but you probably got roasted for it.
Oh, you got roasted relentlessly to the point where you would beg your parents. You could tell who it got to the most because they would show up with the right shit.
Yeah, they would spend all their money on a platinum FUBU shirt. And that was all they had, but they had that one little Fat Albert shirt. And apparently we were all just running around in Fat Albert clothes. And it's just now hitting me how difficultly problematic that is for all those years. Anyway, the point I'm trying to make is that with the knockoff brands, which like many clothes in this country were primarily made in Asian countries, there are some theories that Tommy Hilfiger made a statement saying that people shouldn't be wearing the knockoff brands because they don't look good in them, and they are basically like cheap versions of the more quality things that he and Ralph Lauren and Eddie Bauer and all these people were making. And so if you put two and two together, what it sounds like is Tommy Hilfiger took a shot at some of these knockoff brands, and then a bunch of people took that personally and then concocted a rumor about what he said from the much more innocuous statement he made.
Listen, I don't knock how people make their money, and neither should Tommy Hilfiger. That's taking money out of the black man's hands. That's taking money out of the black man's hands. And
sure,
if he said it, and it's also like, okay, if that's what he said, all right. Okay, how about this? I feel like you benefit more off of the sensationalism of racism. So he had a decision to make.
Yep.
He was like, okay, which way do I want to take this misunderstanding? Which way do people? So, I'm gonna just allow them to think for a little while, and then I got Oprah. Now maybe we're giving him more credit than we're giving Oprah. Maybe he saw the rumor roll out into something else. Maybe he did say something.
Right.
And the rumor rolled out into something else. It snowballed into Jewish, black, and Asian can't wear this. And then he was like, well, there's a lot of attention. My name is being brought up. The brand is being brought up. let's just rock this out.
And
you know?
that is a fascinating part of the original statement, right? Is that he does mention race in this thing. And that makes it complicated, right? Is that like...
Yeah, why can't just be everybody wearing knockoffs, motherfucker? We wasn't the only one.
Yeah, and I think at the end of the day, what we're talking about is like, hey, dog, if people are making knockoff versions of your clothes, I get why you would be frustrated. You probably worked really hard to make those clothes. But you ain't got to be like these goddamn Asians are doing it. Just kind of be like, hey, knock it off, and then move on with your day. Instead, he's like, these motherfucking Asians, if they don't cut it out making the knockoffs that look cheap, and it's like, all right, if you're going to take shots, then Christina in the Philippines is about to shoot back.
Yep, that's right. And I'm here. This is what happens. Okay, this is what happens. You know, he had to make a decision though. Something tells me Oprah owed him a favor.
Yep.
We don't know what it is. They saw each other party. He was like, "Yo," they was at one of Harvey Weinstein's parties. Okay, and Harvey was like, "Oprah, Tommy, Oprah," and Tommy was like, "Oprah, nice to meet you." While we're shaking hands, do I have your word that if I'm ever accused of racism, that you'll help me clean the shit up?
Yep.
And she's like, absolutely.
Hell yeah. Racism. I don't.
Oh, because Oprah had like how many glasses of wine at the Weinstein party? Like, let's just, while the kids was being ushered off into like the side rooms, she was busy guzzling wine. That's why she didn't know. She was too busy getting drunk to see the kids at the parties and like, she wasn't
there for the pedophilia. She was merely there.
She never heard her talked about none of that because she was too busy making that deal with Tommy Hilfiger.
She was making deals to protect white people from their own racism. Listen, you've dropped some knowledge here. You've given us a lot to think about. We're going to take a break and we'll be back with more Alex English, more My Mama Told Me. And we are back.
Hell no, to the no, no, no. Hell to the no, hell to the no, to the no, no, no.
Yeah, we're back here with more Alex English, more My Mama Told Me. We're still talking about that tyrant, Oprah, and the secret handshake she was doing at celebrity parties to protect the white man from his own white man shit. I want to play a game. We're going to play a game together. It's a fun game. It's a brand new game. We've never played this one before. It's a brand new game that I'm calling Oprah's Acolytes.
Were you silent or were you silenced?
Oprah's Acolytes is a fun game where I, Alex, am going to introduce to you a few of the people that were created from the Oprah dynasty, that were born out of the Oprah dynasty, that have now become famous in their own right. And what I would like to do, because I think you and I are both in agreement that Oprah has only sinister plans for the world and awful sort of treacherous things in mind for our well-being. What I would love for you to do is unpack what you think Oprah's intention was in letting these people loose out into the world. That makes sense to you?
Perfect sense.
Fuck yeah. So the first person was Dr. Phil. What do you think Oprah's plans were in unleashing Dr. Phil to the world?
I think that when Oprah brought us Dr. Phil, she was saying there is a vast majority of Americans specifically who are suffering from mental health issues, and I would like to be a part of making it work.
I see a lot of sick Americans, and I would like them to be sicker. I don't want...
And because, yep, and I do believe that Oprah is hand in hand. She is in cahoots with Big Pharma, okay? So if I can unleash this very traumatic man, a man that screams at you, yells at you, kind of doesn't really give you any loving path to, kind of just shouts... and assumes authority with like no real guidance, really, and kind of platform him towards where he has a show that almost exploits the psychological nature of the modern day American, just gonna give those to Big Pharma.
Yeah.
Because what'll then happen is between his show, there are commercials for pills and drugs that help you get it, become dependent on those. So Oprah and Big Pharma were the parents of Dr. Phil.
Wow. Okay. I like where you're heading. Here's a fun one that you did, Dr. Phil. Hit me with a little sauce on Dr. Oz. What do you do with Dr. Oz?
Dr. Oz, okay, I think with Dr. Oz, women already go to the doctor, okay? It's already known that women are prone to visiting the doctor, getting checked up more regularly than men.
Yep.
So why not make it sexy for him? You know? Why? Because Dr. Oz is an attractive man. No one wants to fuck Dr. Phil, so that's why he's gonna fuck your brain. Dr. Oz is gonna get up in your pussy. Dr. Oz is gonna tell you, yeah, Dr. Oz, tell me about my titties, tell me about my lump, tell me about, okay, ladies, if you check, my mother would have never gone to get a breast exam if it wasn't for Dr. Oz.
So you're telling me, and correct me if I'm hearing you wrong, I think what you're saying is that Dr. Phil introduced Big Pharma, and then Dr. Oz made Big Pharma sexy. He made us horny for Big Pharma.
Dr. Oz brought Big Pharma back, brought sexy back into Big Pharma.
We're now busting it open for pills because of Dr. Oz.
Bust it wide open for your IUD.
I love that. And I hate that this is Oprah's plan, but I love that you spotted it, and we're gonna unpack some more.
And birth control, yep. And we already know about what birth control is to Black women in the community. So, and you think Oprah, yeah, go ahead and tell these bitches about their bodies. That's what she told. That's what she told Dr. Oz.
I like this. Okay, let's do another one. Rachel Ray. Okay. Talk to me about Rachel Ray and Oprah's intentions with Rachel Ray.
Okay. I think a lot of us are well versed on Oprah's relationship with food. Remember when she pulled out the meat, and that was like the meat that she pulled out on the wagon was the equivalent of how much weight she lost or whatever craziness.
For those that don't remember, Oprah at one point lost, I believe, 67 pounds, and then she dragged a wagon of animal fat out onto the stage to demonstrate how much weight she had lost.
And Oprah is a shapeshifter. We know this. Like she goes up and down in weight like nobody's business. So I believe that when she got into the meeting, with ABC, and she said, "Ladies and gentlemen, my next prototype, Rachel Ray." She presented Rachel Ray, and the mission with Rachel Ray was, big girls, you can eat well, but be healthy, but keep eating.
Oh, okay. Let me see if I can take this a step further, because I think what you're saying is that Oprah Winfrey introduces Rachel Ray as a way of trapping us in our own like fat shit while simultaneously selling us health. She's like being like, hey, you don't got to change your diet. You don't got to be a different kind of person. Secretly, Rachel Ray is cooking up a bunch of meals that are clogging our cardiovascular valves and shit and holding us down.
You know what she did? Remember when the cartoon, in all of the cartoons, they would try to get Bugs Bunny, right?
Yep.
And they would try to get Bugs Bunny with the carrot. And, the string would be on the carrot. You pull it, okay. There was no string. Okay. Oprah put the carrot in the box, in the Rachel Ray box.
Yep.
With the carrot. Got all of the big women to come towards the box, close the box.
Yep.
But the box turned into ribs. the carrot turned into ribs. It was a trick. So I you know what I honestly believe? Rachel Ray is a figment of our imagination.
So Rachel Ray doesn't exist. She is merely a Horcrux of Oprah out in the world, sort of doing her deviant damage.
There we are. I would honestly scrap everything that we just said about Rachel Ray, and that is what I believe. I believe that Rachel Ray is a hologram. She doesn't really exist. Oprah did it just to make it appear as though she was cared about healthy eating and stuff like that. She was like, yeah, this will fit. She was tired of talking there was let's just keep it a buck. At a certain point of time in her tenure, during her run, Oprah just got tired of talking. She was like, let me just get this to people. White people, y'all been hearing my voice every single day for 20-something years. I'm going to give y'all these white people, and I'm going to sit back and be responsible for them.
I like that. Okay.
She is the Zordon. Oprah is the Zordon, and they are the Power Rangers.
Well, I'll ask you about this last person, and I don't know if you'll qualify this person as a Power Ranger in that analogy that you just created. We were just talking about her, Iyanla Vanzant. What do you think Oprah's intention was when she unleashed Iyanla Vanzant on the world?
Comedy. Oprah was like, we need to laugh.
Yeah, she was like, this bitch is funny.
We need to laugh together. And you know what's so funny is that Iyanla Vanzant truly is a comedian. I believe that Iyanla Vanzant is like she's one of the underrepresented, underrated, she's not giving her due as a comic.
I'm not as funny as Iyanla Vanzant. I know that for a fact.
I don't think I ever will be. There was an episode, and I went on an Iyanla rabbit hole on YouTube not too long ago, and there was, because they had drama. Iyanla and Oprah had beef.
They hated
for
each other because Oprah basically played her, set her up to be the next person, and then got jealous that Iyanla wasn't following her exact instructions as a supreme leader.
And then Iyanla broke the chain of command, and she was like, you know what, I'm gonna go ahead and do my own thing. And she was like, you know what I can do to you? Look what I did to Tommy Hilfiger.
Yep.
Do you need the same thing to be happening? Get back on my show and talk to my whites.
Yep.
Iyanla had to do the same. Iyanla had to do the same perp walk.
Yep.
She had to do the same perp walk. Go on that show and cry to Oprah, talk about what's going on, and then we can send you on your way. On that episode, actually, there is a scene, which is why I say comedy. There is a scene, and this is how evil Oprah is. There is a scene where they're taking B-roll shots of Iyanla while she's telling her story about struggling financially and spiraling after the Oprah deal went through, and she was depressed and stuff. And they're taking B-roll of Iyanla just draped in this big heavy coat with this scarf wrapped around her neck, with this weird hat, and she's walking through a park, a random park. It's a cloudy day. It's not a flattering shot of her, but they've played the B-roll of her doing that maybe 3 times throughout the segment.
Right.
And the audience is laughing, and Oprah's calling back to it multiple times, making an audience of people laugh at her. She's literally embarrassing her. And Iyanla has to shrug it off oh yeah, I look homeless in that shot, don't I? Yeah, that's how sad I was. And Oprah had called it back. I was can you, she's literally play it again. I can't.
Christ.
And I'm
and I will say there's something really sinister in what you're describing where Oprah is quite possibly teaching the world. She gives us Iyanla Vanzant as a way to teach the world to laugh comically at this black woman instead of respecting her as an actual therapist, a healer that she sort of has branded herself as, and she is no more unqualified than Dr. Phil is. But Oprah found a way to discredit the black woman and then prop the white dude up for 20 seasons of yelling at teenagers and telling them that they need to be nicer to their moms.
And Iyanla has the hips that Liz Claiborne didn't want people wearing. Those exactly.
Hey, I see what's under there, Iyanla. It's all connected. And I'm trying to see more.
It's all connected. It's all connected. Tommy Hilfiger said, get your big black Iyanla hips out of my jeans.
I love this. Alex, I think we did it. I think we nailed it. You laid it down. You gave me all the info I need. Could you tell the people at home where they can find you? What kind of cool stuff you got going on?
I'm everywhere on the internet. Alex English. The E that spells English is numerical. It is the number 3. It's a few things coming out. I have a stand-up set coming out soon with Alana Glazer. That's coming out. That's it. And a couple other things. But if you come to my handles and my website, that'll all be out there.
Fuck yeah. Go follow Alex. He's great. And as always, you can follow us, subscribe, like this shit, leave comments, good or bad. I love reading them. And feel free to follow me and send us stuff at mymommapod@gmail.com. Okay, that's everything I had to say. Bye, bitch.